Friend brings in dad's ashes because teacher demands to meet his father. So my friend Talon's dad died about 5 years ago. They got him cremated, so Talon has an urn with his dad's ashes in it. One of our teachers was mad at Talon about something, I'm not sure what, but the teacher demanded to meet Talon's father. He tried multiple times to tell our teacher that his dad was in fact dead. But Mr. McCunt wouldn't listen to him. So the next day, Talon shows up to school with his dad's urn and plops it on the teacher's desk and says, "You wanted to meet my dad, so here." I have never seen a teacher so mortified in my life. Edit. It's not that Mr. McCunt didn't believe him, it's that he didn't give the kid an opportunity to explain. He just kept interrupting and sent him out.
Now to the comments. If he still needs to talk to him, bring in a Ouija board.
Seance time. Jimmy, dim the lights. Kathy, get the candles.
But wait, wouldn't you want the candles before you dim the lights? This reminds me of a story that was posted here some time ago. This took place in England, I believe. Some government agency notified a woman that they were coming around to take some information or other from her mother. The woman repeatedly tells the agency that her mother is deceased. They still insisted to pay a visit to the deceased mother. The woman said fine. When they came to the house, the woman had the government employee sit down and showed him the urn.
Wasn't there another one, but it was with a bank? I remember the teller or something calling the cops on her after. Edit. Changed it to the correct pronoun.
Yeah, I remember one that took place outside of a home. I think someone was trying to close out their parents' account. My dad isn't a big talker, but he is a great listener. Kinda similar, I had a teacher who yelled at a kid in the hallway because he was wearing a hat, against dress code. The kid tried to tell her he had a pass to wear hats. She called bullshit and asked why someone would get a pass to wear hats. He yelled to her across the hallway, "I have cancer." She never called anyone out on dress code again.
Oh man. That hurts. I always hated teachers that went out of their way to enforce rules on someone only to find out there was a reason the kid needs to break that rule.
Is there a sub for stories like that? Unless the sub is exactly that. I honestly never understood what the sub's name meant, but I subscribed because I liked the posts. Thank God Talon's father wasn't buried. That would have been a huge mess.
Talon. Who on earth is the creepy guy in robes outside? Oh. Don't mind him. He's just our neighborhood necromancer. I needed him to resurrect my dad so you could meet him.
Not as mortified as the dad though.
r/dead dad jokes.
r/subs I fell for. Also my life is a little sadder for clicking on it. To add as a revenge story, he should have walked around the school with it all day and told every teacher who asked Mr. X insisted on meeting my dad, so here he is.
Or spoken to the principal and had the principal call the teacher to his office because the teacher wouldn't listen to why the student's dad wasn't available.
As a young person with a dead father, I can confirm that pulling shit like this is one of the only perks. Why wouldn't Mr. McCunt, or anyone, for that matter, believe Talon when he said his father had passed away?
I had a kid say his mom had cancer and was in the hospital and he was staying with his grandma. I was young with lots of free time, so I went up to the hospital to see his mom, see if there was anything I could do to help. She wasn't there. The next day I asked the student why she wasn't there and he said something about maybe having the wrong hospital. I decided to call the mom's work number. Yep, She was there, totally healthy. Working. She was not happy to hear what her son had told me, but I just told her I was happy she wasn't being treated for cancer.
How nice of you. Honestly though, whether or not Talon was lying, how is the teacher winning that argument? Either way, a grown adult is arguing with a child for no reason.
Either way, a grown adult is arguing with the child for no reason. Well, this happens on Reddit all the time, so obviously this happens offline as well. Pretty typical dynamic of human interaction, if you ask me.
Please tell me you remembered to anonymize Talon's name.
OP replied. Yeah, it's just a name I made up.
Thank Duck. I wouldn't want to think some parent thought Talon was a good name for a child. When I was 16, I was at a friend's house, and he pulled out a tub full of an off-white substance. He opened it and put it in front of me and said, "Smell this." Right when I do, he slaps the side of the tub and I inhale some of the dust that got stirred up accidentally. He starts laughing uncontrollably and says, "You just inhaled my dad." My dad died right before I graduated high school in 2015, and my stepdad died this last Saturday, right before I will be graduating from college. So, this post honestly gave me a good chuckle. But it also pissed me off. I cannot stand teachers/professors that demand proof of a dead parent. My mom and dad divorced when I was 6 months old, and my mom and stepdad had been together ever since. I've had to prove their deaths twice now, and it blows my mind. It's the last thing I want to do. Who wants to Google an obituary and print it out to bring to class? Especially in a time like this. I get it that anyone can say their parent has passed, but in all honesty, who in high school or college would even mess with that sort of lie? God, it's so frustrating. Had the opposite happened to me, bank phoned me to inform me that I was listed as deceased in their system, and wanted to double check. One of my teachers in high school thought one of my classmates with skipping class because he claimed his grandma had just died. The teacher demanded proof, so he took a photo with her in her casket and brought it to him. The teacher was very careful about accusing students after that. I would start talking to the urn and act like I'm getting yelled at and being interrupted, make a big ol' scene. "I'm sorry Dad, it's his fault for summoning you from beyond. Don't hurt me. Please go back to your rest.
Don't haunt me."
My grandfather died while I was still on active duty in the Navy. He'd been a sailor himself, and his will requested that he be cremated and tossed out into the ocean. I had been sent home, my ship was in Saudi at the time, to attend his funeral, and everyone figured that since I was going back to an ocean-going vessel, I should take care of the latter part of his will. So, I got to take an unadorned cardboard box with me on a transatlantic flight. Inside was a sealed plastic bag, containing several pounds of ash and whatnot. As I was passing through customs in Saudi, the box went through the X-ray and came back as just a big blank space. So, naturally, the customs agent got suspicious. Bear in mind this was pre-9/11. He told me to open the box, and I refused. When he insisted, and I didn't back down, he asked me what was in it. My reply: my grandfather. He clearly didn't expect this, and had to call in his boss and chase down someone with a better grasp of English. Took a couple hours, but when I finally got someone to understand what was going on, they let me through without any more hassle. Say hi to my dad. Which? Something something, he's an earnest man. I had to do that when a petty bureaucrat kept insisting that I needed my mother's signature on a document. Apparently, the idiot had no idea what a death certificate was. I plopped her on the counter and told him, "Here she is. Go ahead and hand her a pen." Turns out, the signature wasn't actually required. This very sad, but Talon is a ducking metal name. There aren't many things more frustrating than having someone older than you who ignores and interrupts you or doesn't really listen to what you are saying. I work with some people like this. I get to the point I don't even want to bother having a long conversation with them. Upvote for correct usage of mortified. 'Twas the name Mr. McCunt that truly earned the upvote. Story matched the sub perfectly, but dang, that name will forever be etched in my mind. Whoa, my name is Talon and my dad also has passed away. I had to do a double take to make sure this wasn't me, lol. Your story reminded me of a story of my own. My dad was cremated and my mom feels weird about displaying her dead husband on the mantle, so his urn is in the front hall closet. He would have found this placement hilarious. So, one day, a good decade after his death, my mom answers a spam call that asks for my dad. She started to say I'm sorry, he's not unavailable, but gets cut off from spammer. When he finally lets her get a word in, she says fine. Give me a second and I'll put him on the phone. I just have to dig him out of the closet first, and slams the phone down.